Well, that was fun. Hello YouTubers, this is the noobifier. Today is the 3rd of February 2023. There was an hour-long Star Citizen live mission features. Here's what you need to know. Jared introduced the guests. The mission feature team, Lars, James, Ed, and Elliot, introduced themselves for the first 5 minutes. Jared spoke about how the rank structure at CIG is, specifically the title modifier Principal. Principal, as the name suggests, would be a seasoned designer with knowledge of the processes. The Principal would coach and mentor the more junior or newly hired developers. They spoke about 5 minutes about how important it is to take notes. Jared asked them to explain what they do. This team is not only about making the missions, but the back-end tech that allows others to develop missions. Many features begin here with this team, who will piece it together with the content teams, resulting in a new system or a new tool, a new way of thinking, a new way of building the parts of Star Citizen. 20 minutes in, they began speaking about 3.18. They're happy with the time trial tools, which are the systems for the PU races. They came about because of the desire to give the development teams a way to add gameplay to the physical locations that were the tracks. And I want to highlight that the tracks themselves were actually found and used by players first. So this is a really cool little closed loop. The developers began by first adjusting the physical track to suit the need, and now the developers are adding the timing systems to close that loop. As I said, ores and missions are the second feature for 3.18, and the panel spoke about how the AI seemed to perform properly on the platforms near the mission locations. They spoke about how they optimized some of the kiosks in prison to improve player experience. They spoke about some optimizations that were done to other systems around the system for the same reason. Mission persistence is coming soon, and they spoke for about 10 minutes about fun bugs that they've been observing. And Jared stated that with big changes to the back end, little bugs are going to need to be addressed during the next couple patches. The team went into some short stories about bugs that they've dealt with, bugs about the player-actor system, bugs having to do with elevators, bugs having to do with security AI. With seconds to go, Jared asked what would be worked on in the near future. They mentioned a continued collaboration with the narrative team to polish the investigation and salvage missions, adding features in the future to buy rights to mine an area temporarily as a mission. Then we basically went to a commercial break so guests could leave and new ones could get comfortable. Jared did a shout out to the Stanton 7 hosted by Atmo Esport, which is coming up soon. Jared then spoke about a random item in his new set, The Only Constant. There was a comic book from 2015. Robbie and Nick Elms, a father and son team who have worked together in the industry for over 12 years. That was the next panel. Flight side feature team for Squadron 42 is what they do. Nick joined CIG first, and then Robbie joined shortly after. They spoke about the very early years of gaming together. Nick has a long-term history with Chris Roberts, even before Origin. Nick was a trainer for 3D Studio, and interwoven into the tapestry of time, he mentioned Aaron and other time spent with Chris. Nick spoke about playing D&D with Chris, and Nick said that Chris was a good DM for 3 sessions, but then they moved on to other things. This tail end of the show was so good. It was one of the better and most human segments of SC Live. Jared observed that Nick had been with the UK office for over 10 years and asked both of them what their best story was. Robbie said that it was the first time that they got quantum working properly, and Nick said that it was meeting so many big-name actors that were assembled for the cast of Squadron 42. Jared said that his favorite memory was the first internal pre-screening for the Gary Oldman speech that we first saw in 2016. He said it was epic, and I tend to agree. That's it. A very interesting show. Thank you very much for spending your time with me. If you enjoy the breakdowns, please consider subscribing so I can help to keep you up to date. Please consider sharing with a friend or orc mate. Fly safe, and I'll see you in the verse.